Hi everybody, it's Stephanie. Today's video review is of the book Raw Deal. It's really good. It is kind of like an expose on deregulation among three companies specifically. They are Uber, TaskRabbit, and Airbnb. Starting with Uber, they were in the news recently for their driverless car that hit and killed a pedestrian. Remember, these driverless cars are programmed. They're programmed by programmers. Anyways, the main thing with the deregulation of, or the non-regulation of Uber is that they claim to be a platform, not an employer. As such, they do not need to provide health insurance for the drivers or any kind of safety precautions either for the drivers or the customers. And the book goes into detail, and it's really concise and says much more eloquently and much more effectively than I will right now about what's been going on. They also go into like a web page that's only for drivers and what they're saying to each other about what's going on with them. There's a lot of drivers who tell their stories among different states, and they seem to correspond. Anyways, Uber has also been kicked out of several countries for their lack of responsibility. As far as the lack of protection, if you are a customer in an Uber car and something happens to you and you end up going to the hospital because of an attack by a driver, you will not be covered by Uber. Uber does not claim responsibility. If you're a driver and you're attacked by a customer, same thing. Don't expect any consolation, coverage, financial help of any kind at all from Uber. And I guess it's fine if nothing happens, but if it does, watch out. Apparently, over time, Uber's tips kind of gone down. Again, the book goes into detail about the lack of any kind of protection at all for either drivers and customers. Airbnb also claims to be a platform, not an employer or owner, and that they also are not responsible for enforcement of any regulations since they're not in the hotel business or owning anything. But apparently Airbnb, which started out as a platform, was a way for private owners to rent out a room or their home and get some extra income and help them. That is now a very small minority. The vast majority of Airbnbs are owned by investors and large companies, developers who want to have hotel rooms without having any of those pesky taxes or regulations to follow, and not being responsible as well. If you book a room through Airbnb and you show up at that room or that apartment or home and it looks like no one really lives there, that's probably because no one does live there. There are big swaths of apartments and homes that are bought out by these investors, and they are using it, like I said, to not pay taxes and not have any regulations. It's really profitable. Anything really profitable will be done. So if, like for instance, if you can make a big profit, would you take a chance on regulations and this kind of thing? Maybe. So investors who have no conscience, and the only thing that matters is increasing the bottom line as much as possible. This is great. This is wonderful. This is like jackpot. In San Francisco, where this started, a lot of older people, and like old and disabled and people who might have been just a little bit late on their rent, less than a month, they were kicked out of their homes, and these small apartments and small like apartment buildings where they had lived for decades were taken over by the owners or the developers, bought out and used as Airbnb. So if you're staying at a cute little, quaint little Airbnb in a nice residential part of town, chances are that there was an older or disabled person living there, and now I guess they're going to go put it under the claim of times change and moving forward and these kind of things, which is I guess fine, but where's this going to end? If a landlord has an apartment building and they're getting, let's say in San Francisco, $3,000 a month for a little tiny apartment, on the surface that sounds like, wow, $3,000 a month or $2,000 a month, whatever. But if you're getting like even if it's $300 a day, even for 20 days, that's $6,000. And that's a lot more profitable And, hey, why not? So there you go. But there's no regulations, there's no safety or precautions, just like Uber and also TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit is an app that started out as a way for individuals to make a little extra money doing side jobs, either to build a resume or as a little business. But it turned out that people were just sort of scraping by, looking piecemeal, spending all their time looking for little jobs and really making no money, having no insurance, no security, nothing. And it was described as a race to the bottom. And you got what you pay for. And that whole business model has changed, described as more like a temp agency for house cleaning and manual labor and a couple other things, a very traditional standard temp agency. The book is called Raw Deal. It does highlight Uber and Airbnb and a little bit of TaskRabbit. So I highly recommend it. It's cool. I guess you could describe it as an expose or even a scathing expose. It might get you a little mad and frustrated and that kind of thing. But if you like that kind of thing, read the book, Raw Deal. My name is Stephanie. If you like this video, please comment and/or like. Feel free to subscribe and let me know what you'd like to see reviewed. Thanks, and I'll see you next time. Bye.